who's the best team in the SEC this year? Because while we're talking about colonoscopies, you can only talk about Brian Kelly. You're going to ride with Texas?
Yes, I just think they've earned that, dude. Like, it's not like they had a bad class,
Right? No, not at all.
And the hype around Arch is obviously massive, and I think he's got the right attitude about it. So, I mean, honestly, I think that, like, Brian Kelly's got to show that he can actually go out and win the big ball games, because he hasn't. I mean, I agree that he's got stats. He's been to a national championship game. Like, obviously, the guy can coach, but I don't believe that he's proven in the SEC that he's, one of the best coaches in the SEC.
I think I think when you start looking at Garrett Nussmeier and you say to yourself, who's got the best quarterback in the SEC? Doesn't Nussmeier have to be in the conversation?
Yeah.
I think the one thing that you're in danger of at Texas is Arch Manning living up to and exceeding expectations. I think that's a huge thing.
Well, how do you mean? Like, whether he would or wouldn't?
I think the issue is that Arch Manning has enormous expectations on top of him. And when I look at LSU, you're getting what, 65% of your production back in return. Texas is getting 51%, so half their production walked out the door, right? Like, you're getting 40% of your offense back. Now, you also have one of the best defenses in the entire country, right? I mean, if we look at what's really good with LSU, I mean, it's Nussmeier. And we're going to find out very early, because LSU goes to the SIP on September 27th. Mm-hmm. So we're going to know, right? And you look at the way that LSU kind of bears out, their weaponry is nothing short of spectacular. And I think that if they average 8.5 wins, that's a 10-win team. If everything falls into place. Garrett Nussmeier, I mean, you look at Aaron Anderson or Xavier Thomas, or, I mean, look at Nick Anderson from Oklahoma. Like, that's lethal. He may LSU, and I know, again, this is crazy with Arch Manning and Austin and all the weapons that they have there, because they're incredible. And that defense, again, I'm just going to say that defense is unfreaking believable. I think you look at Texas, and it's going to be very close between LSU and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that everybody's going to side with Texas. I'm telling you right now, LSU is going to make that a very interesting conversation. And I think you're probably right. You should lean Texas on July 29th. October 1st, you might damn well be leaning LSU.
Yeah. I would agree that LSU is, going to be really good. When you talk about what coaches have to prove, Stark still needs to prove that he can make the right call in a big game, right? I mean, I think that they were, again, it's the infamous you're one call away against ASU. So that, to me, is one of those things where it's like, hey, man, like, Stark and that coaching staff need to get a little bit more consistent, and they need to get better at executing the game plan when that opportunity is given to them. But I guess I don't doubt, Brian Kelly's track record, right? Like, obviously he went to the national championship game. Like, he's got the record. Like, I get all that. But if you said to me, hey, well, who would you take, to win the big game, to win a big SEC game early in the year, my vote's not going to be Brian Kelly, because I just don't think that he's that guy. And I say that only because he has lost a ton of huge games where he had seemingly the better football team. Did they come through? No. And I think in the SEC, while we're sitting here talking about other conferences and comparing it, like in the SEC, do you not get your true colors shown like early in the year? Do we not get those big losses early in the year to to seemingly national championship contenders who, really should have won that game? We do. And that's what I think made the legend of Nick Saban is he didn't often lose those games. You didn't have, a situation where you had to ask, well, hey, Alabama just lost early in the year. Like, what's their year going to look like? Last season was the first time we've had to ask that question. So I just think that when you look at LSU, yes, you got a good quarterback, got good skill position. Theoretically, you've got really good talent to compete. But when you get to game day and it comes down to that situation, I need to see Brian Kelly prove that he's got the right play call, that they're ready to execute, and they're ready to get the job done. This was the Ryan Day discussion for how many years?
Yeah.
Right? But here we are. Now he's got a national championship, and you're not asking that question anymore.
Yeah, I don't think you're giving his offense. Brian Kelly does a lot of things, you guys. I think we'll find out. We'll find out. I look at the depth chart. I mean, Barry and Brown, Aaron Anderson, Nick Anderson, that offensive line, I think we all would agree that offensive line is going to be spectacular.
Listen,
Xavier Thomas is a backup.
I don't think it's a talent conversation. The guy can recruit his ass off.
Yeah.
He's always got talent. But isn't that the crime with Brian Kelly?
It is.
Hey,
it always has
got
been.
All the talent in the world. You're wearing the clover on your chest. You're at LSU. You're here. You're there. Like the indictment has been, hey, you have an overwhelming amount of talent and you couldn't figure it out. It's the SC game from last year in the Raiders Stadium, in Las Vegas to start the year. That game was like way wilder than it should have been.
Man, I forgot how good Texas is on offense. Holy shit!
So my
like
point
you look at Moore, Mosley, Wingo, Quintravian Wisner is a running back. CJ Baxter's the backup, right? And then, I mean, forget about Colin Simmons is probably the best defensive player in the country. Hill, Simmons, January, they got a few guys who can strap it on in Austin. Guys. Yeah, I mean, I would think right now you're leaning Texas, but my God, I am so ready for football. I am so ready for big games. Maury Alvarez, good afternoon, Maury. Good to see you. Hope the fam's good. Kelly doesn't have ED, but he does have big game winning dysfunction.
Right.
Okay. I like it. Brian Kelly, he does kind of run hot, doesn't he? He always has the rosacea working and, Texas defense can carry this team this season. I don't see Ewers walking down the tunnel at all this season. Can Texas stop anybody? Oh my God. Can you guys, if Arch Manning wins the Heisman Trophy, will they lose a game?
No. Nope.
Because serious question. I mean, if
he wins the Heisman Trophy, if he plays that well, they're not going to lose. They're not.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's agree with that. It's going to be
difficult for them to lose if he's playing that well.
Yeah, I think,
And I don't think there's any reason to believe he shouldn't play that well. He's had time to sit behind Quinn. He knows the playbook. He has been in the moment. He was put right in the middle of the fire last year against Georgia. And, it didn't look amazing, but I think, a lot of expectation there, a lot to ask of a kid to just step in against the best defense in the country or one of, Ohio State, obviously, but
Ohio State,
I just think that Texas is positioned to have a big year again.
Yeah.
And it's only because you've got a dual threat quarterback, in my opinion, whose mobility is game changing. I think Nussmeier is a great quarterback, big arm, great leader, everything you want. Not quite as mobile as Arch, but still mobile.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt at their best. Arch Manning should be a better quarterback.
Yeah.
I think, you're not even, you're exactly right.
But see, then that brings me back to, okay, well then, if Brian Kelly's got has enough weaponry to beat you, because
he does.
Because winning a football game isn't just about the talent, right? So like if you're LSU and you're Brian Kelly looking at, playing Texas or winning the SEC, we all know what this comes down to, which is it comes down to a play here or a play there. And sometimes those couple of plays look like pick sixes, and sometimes those couple of plays look like a tackle missed or here or there. And that's where I say, like, no, Brian Kelly's not that far away from winning the SEC, but But my God, the next time he has a bad sequence of play calling on defense, let's say, or the next time that they have bad clock management to end a game won't be his first time.
Dude, Texas's defense is so deep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary. Honest to dude, I don't even know how you compete. Now, again, I'm not telling you to write off, for instance, Alabama, because Alabama is no slouch. I mean, I'm very curious to see if Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, like who's the next star quarterback at Alabama, right? But you're always going to have, when you have Ryan Williams as your number one, doesn't Ryan Williams make Bernard and Horton better wide receivers? Right? Doesn't he make Alabama's defense, which again, I think with Rashad, Jefferson, Lawson, Brown, Saab, Hubbard, like aren't they better defensively because of what Alabama should be able to do? They're not going to be as good as LSU and Texas. Georgia, and again, I think I understand I'm stupid I had a Georgia fan go off in the comment section the other day because I said Gunnar Stockton's got to prove himself. Yeah. Big old 17 head's got to prove himself, right? Like he's got to prove that he can do something other than throw interceptions against Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. He's got to prove himself that he can carry the football team. And I don't think he proved himself. And again, I understand that.
But what choice do they have?
They don't have another choice. You're not going to play Ryan Puglisi at this point. No. You're not, because I think he's probably their second best quarterback. But I also think they're another team that's got, Raylan Wilson is going to be, I think he is going to be a generational linebacker in that system. And again, they put him out, right? But they're not going to be as good as Texas and LSU, right?
But my point is around the coaching thing.
Mm-hmm.
LSU is good enough talent-wise where they can beat these teams. They are absolutely good enough to beat these teams.
Certainly.
And that's where I say, like, I look at, like, we didn't know, the world didn't know what we had in the Joe Burrow LSU teams, right? We didn't know just how good those guys were overall.
Burrow.
And that's why they came seemingly out of nowhere at LSU with those teams. And I look at the recruitment of Joe Burrow at that time and what it took to get him and the circumstances that took place at Ohio State for Joe to go to LSU. And that's where I say, like,
he was an afterthought at Ohio State.
Yeah. And Brian Kelly, my question is, who is your Joe Burrow kind of talent? Who is your guy that nobody knows about that's going to be a breakout and then go to the NFL and be one of the best players in the league? Like, that's my question, because in my opinion, that's what it takes to win in the SEC. You can't have, like, look at Kalen DeBoer. I'm sorry, Jalen Milroe. You were not good enough to lead your team to an 11-win season. You were not. Because in the SEC, you don't get to just run around all over the place, and that's good enough.
And he played for a guy that put some guy named Big Penix Energy in the NFL.
Yeah, right?
Like, so, he knows how to coach quarterbacks. But again, I look at Texas and Ohio State. We're going to find out how good Texas's defense is right out of the gate, dude. Are you kidding me? Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, who I have a love affair with. I think Carnell Tate has a chance. I think Brandon Inniss has a chance. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be that offensive line and Julian Sayin stepping up and doing it quick. And you also got to replace some really good running backs. But I think they have the best player in all of college football and Caleb Downs, right? I think that defense.
Then you've got two of the best players in college football.
Well, but that's Ohio State. That's what they do, right?
Yeah.
I think we're going to find out who Texas is, because I think Ohio State's the best team in the conference. I don't even think there's natural. That's exactly right. Ohio State always has a QB good enough to rock with the weapons they have. Because when you have a guy like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, and they've probably got 6 legitimate wide receivers who could start on every other team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And one generational talent in Jeremiah Smith. And I think Carnell Tate's a number 1 on a lot of teams. Right? So you're exactly right.
But Carnell Tate, with his build, is a beautiful number 2 for Ohio State.
Yeah.
Beautiful number 2.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
And Donuts gives 5 Monty Show memberships. Appreciate you and Donuts. Good to see you as always. Minnesota, Michigan State could have surprise seasons. I think Minnesota is wildly untalented. Again, Michigan State is building. If you know anything about college football, you can see that Michigan State is building. What is Minnesota building? This is a legitimately serious question. You look at guys like, isn't Drake Lindsay I think he's a redshirt freshman. He's a freshman. That's a defensive league. I don't care if you're Maryland, Rutgers, heck, Ohio State. You got a really good defense. So I always look at the quarterback and their number one wide receiver. Right now, off the top of your head, number one wide receiver at Minnesota is, you don't know either. Right? And I'm telling you, I think their defense is better than their offense, and I don't know that their defense is going to be able to compete with most of the offenses in that league. Because I start to look at Oregon. There's a lot of unknowns about Oregon, right? If Minnesota is going to be a surprise team, is Minnesota capable of beating Oregon? If they were to run into each other, Dante Moore, Novosad,
biggest question marks in college
and
football.
I think Austin Novosad is a guy that a lot of people expect to get reps this year, and we'll see, right? We'll see. But you look at his defense, and there's not a weakness up front, in my opinion, at Oregon, especially against the second-tier teams. I think Minnesota's going to have a really, really difficult time.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So it is what it is. I think it's a fascinating discussion, and I'll be interested to see exactly how all that plays out. Are the Cleveland Browns going to cut Shedeur Sanders? Let's talk about that in 30 seconds after this from the Advocates.
You're not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the Advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.